Does anyone remember the old Hyundai XL? If you answered no, that's a good thing, as the company would probably want you to forget about the very first vehicle it offered to us here in the States. Today, Hyundai has come a long way, and the vehicle I have here represents just how far they've come. Introduced in 2011, the Equus is Hyundai's offering into the full-size luxury sedan class with stalwart players like the Mercedes-Benz S-Class, BMW 7 Series, and Lexus LS. Nicely updated for 2014, luxury buyers are treated to a vehicle that looks and feels premium while offering most of what you'd expect from German or Japanese rivals at a $30,000 discounted price. The real question remains, does Hyundai's flagship feel like the real deal? Or is it just another knockoff? Let's find out as we explore the 2014 Hyundai Equus Ultimate. At first glance, the big boy Equus really is a big vehicle. Overall length stretches over 203 inches long, while the wheelbase is nearly 120 inches long. For comparison purposes, a Fiat 500 is about 140 inches long overall, so you could nearly park it in between the front and rear wheels of this thing. Now, a lot of you may not realize this, but the Equus is actually in its second generation already. The first model was available in the Korean market back in 1999, where it was actually a front-wheel drive vehicle co-developed with Mitsubishi. When Hyundai redesigned the car in 2009, they started from scratch, giving it a rear-drive architecture on an all-new platform. The Equus name certainly is strange, but it actually does mean something. It's the Latin word for horse, where obviously this car doesn't look anything like a horse, but the name Equus does have prestige in Korea. Speaking of the market, the Equus is available in South Korea, China, the Middle East, and the Americas, where it's known as the Centennial in some parts of the world. Since this car has been in production since 2009, it makes sense to see Hyundai updated, but the changes are so subtle that most of you probably won't be able to tell a 13 from a 14. At the front, the grille and the headlights look the same, but the chrome accent that was right below the headlights, that's gone for 2014. Other giveaways are the wheels, where the classy-looking turbine spoke 19-inch alloys replace the old model's chrome units. Other than that, the rest of the look is sophisticated but somewhat vanilla. I like how Hyundai has used LEDs for the turn signals and the fog lights, but I'm perplexed as to why this car doesn't have LED daytime running lights, where all its competitors do. Looking around back, you'll find a look that resembles maybe the older Lexus LS or the current Buick LaCrosse with those nicely integrated dual outlet exhausts and full LED taillights. The Ultimate package, like my tester, includes this power-operated trunk lid, which reveals a massive 16.7 cubic feet of trunk space with this huge opening. Taking a peek under the hood will please most traditional luxury sedan buyers. Hyundai offers just one engine in the US, a modern 5-liter direct injection V8 engine under the Tao engine family. This V8 has been under the hood since 2012, where it replaced the smaller 4.6-liter unit from the 2011 model. Horsepower is an impressive 429 ponies, but torque is a bit on the lighter side with only 376 pound-feet of twist. Your only transmission choice is an 8-speed automatic with a manual shift in sport settings, while fuel economy is a rather thirsty 15 in the city and 23 on the highway on regular, where Hyundai recommends premium for maximum performance. The company does like to keep it simple. If you look at the German competition, they offer 6-cylinder engines as the standard power, with much better fuel economy numbers, but a loss in performance that's kind of negligible because they have forced induction and a lighter weight. All that power goes to the rear wheels, and that's it. All-wheel drive is not available on the Equus. Exterior design and what's under the hood is great and all, but the interior is really where buyers in this class place a high priority. I mean, when you spend this kind of money on a car, you expect the inside to coddle you in premium materials, the latest technology, and of course, comfortable seats. On that regard, the Equus delivers. Buyers can take their pick between the standard signature model, or for $7,000, you can upgrade to the Ultimate package, and that rolls in several things, including this gorgeous 12.3-inch LCD instrument panel, a rather elaborate-looking heads-up display, forward-facing cameras with an over-the-top around-view monitoring system, power soft closing doors, a rear seat entertainment system with two 9.2-inch monitors, power rear sunshades, heated and cooled thrones in the back, and a power adjustable rear seat. The Ultimate package literally turns the Equus into a limo. I mean, the only thing really missing is your own private chauffeur when you buy this thing. Because this is still Hyundai's flagship, expect a generous standard equipment list. Every model comes with this 9.2-inch LCD display in the center stack, complete with Hyundai's BlueLink telematics and navigation. Now it's controlled via this rotary control knob that's behind the shifter, and although the screen is close enough, it's actually not a touchscreen. The interface works well enough, but I'm a little disappointed to see that the map screen, it looks the same as lower level Hyundai's. Thankfully, the Lexicon premium audio system is anything but ordinary, and the system's 17 speakers will surely satisfy all you audiophiles out there. The other little buttons around the shifter, they control the adjustable air suspension with a normal and high setting, and you enthusiast drivers out there will appreciate the drive modes, where the sport setting not only changes the gauges to a red color, but they actually do alter the driving characteristics of this big sedan. The interior materials, they're top-notch as expected, with a leather-stitched dashboard, a suede headliner, fit and finish that is top-notch, and very few switchgear pieces that are shared with other Hyundai products. For those of you who are coming from your S-Class or a 7 Series, this interior may just fool you into thinking you bought the real deal. Those of you who are lucky enough to have your own private chauffeur, you're probably wondering what's it like to sit in the back seat. Well, it's basically almost as comfortable as the front seats, starting with the fact that I have the Ultimate model. It now seats 5. The 2013 model actually only seated 4. Now, when you fold this little armrest down, this is where the magic happens. Rear seat passengers, they get their own set of controls. The seat itself, it's power adjustable. You can recline it, you can move it forward and back. Now, my favorite feature is when you push relax right here, the front seat actually moves forward all the way, and then the back seat itself, it starts to recline to give you basically a lounge chair. Now, a couple of things that Hyundai did remove for the 14 model, the seat itself, there's no massage function anymore for the front or the rear, and I kind of think it's missing that. Some of the competitors offer that, but other than that, those elaborate screens back here, they're the same size as the front seats. Buyers or passengers back here can basically control the map, the navigation, your audio system, everything that you can control from the front, you can basically control from the back. You also have your own little power electric sunshades back here where you can control this side or the other side. Overall, I mean, honestly, I would rather spend most of my time in the back seat versus driving this thing. Most of us aren't lucky enough to have their own private chauffeur, and let's face it, the majority of buyers, no matter how much money they have, they still end up driving their flagship luxury sedan. So that big question is, how does Hyundai's flagship drive? Does this thing feel like the real deal behind the wheel? Does it feel like an expensive German or Korean alternative to the German competitors? Let's find out. Now, the 5-liter V8 is the only engine offering in this thing, and it's one of the few vehicles in the class that actually only offers one engine. All the other competitors offer a 6-cylinder, a V8, and then some of them even offer a V12 option. Now, Hyundai's 5-liter V8 has been under the hood of this thing since 2012, and it's a very nice engine. You know, this is my first time driving a V8 from Hyundai, and they really put everything they knew and put it into this engine because it's smooth, it's refined, it's powerful, it makes a nice noise when you put your foot down, but it also stays very hidden in the background when you don't want to hear it, and that's what's important for luxury sedan buyers in this class. Now, on this curvy back road here in the backcountry, I guess, of Washington, D.C., this is not really the Equus's best place to test its driving dynamics. I mean, people don't buy big luxury sedans like this to go attack some corners. They buy these things to go on the highway and just have you isolated from all the noises of the outside world. But in that regard, the Equus isn't bad. The steering in this vehicle is very light, it's very numb, it's very devoid of feel, but at the same time, it feels pretty confident. The ride quality really is where this car shines. It's got a very pillowy, soft ride that just really isolates you from all the bumps on the crappy road surfaces in the DC area. And it's also very quiet in here, another expectation for a vehicle in this class. Buyers are really just spoiled when you buy a vehicle like this. The seats are also extremely comfortable, and my tester here with the advanced package, or I'm sorry, with the ultimate package, it has all the driving assistance tech that most of you would want and expect in this class. You'll have lane departure warning, forward collision warning, adaptive cruise control with low speed follow. I'll get on that. I'll show you guys how that works when we get up on the highway. Now, A vehicle in this class needs to deliver effortless acceleration. That's one of the characteristic luxury trademarks if you can afford a vehicle in this expensive segment. And Hyundai's V8 is definitely a little bit light on the torque side. It doesn't have that effortless feel when you first get on the gas like some of its German competitors, but once you get past 3,000 RPM, man, this thing really just takes off, and it feels very powerful. 0 to 60 times are about 5.5 seconds with the 8-speed automatic, and of course, because it's rear-wheel drive, the back end does tend to get a little feisty when you get heavy on the gas. Another thing that Hyundai did update for 2014 is the suspension and the steering tuning, and I gotta say, they did a pretty good job. I mean, of course, when they built this vehicle, they were targeting Lexus LS. I mean, this thing literally feels as, quiet and as soft as Lexus products, which is weird because Lexus today is going into a sportier direction. Now, Hyundai does give you a drive selector mode here system. You can basically choose between sport, normal, and then snow mode. Right now I have it in the normal setting. You can see it's got a blue backlit gauges, and basically the car feels like you can just drive it every day. It's very comfortable. This is the default setting when you first start the car. It'll go into this setting. However, when you push the drive mode button here and switch it to sport, you can see the gauges turn red, the RPMs increase, there's like a nice little sport sign on the tachometer, and the car's character really changes. The suspension gets a little bit stiffer, the steering gets heavier, it gives you a little bit more feel. And I wouldn't want to say that this thing makes me want to go attack some corners in sport mode, but it definitely gives you more confidence and it makes the driving dynamics a lot more fun. And I gotta say, it's one of the few Hyundais, or one of the few cars I've driven that actually makes a difference when you put it in sport mode. And of course, what you keep hearing is that little beep. That's the lane departure warning. It's very, very sensitive. I mean, it's really nice in the fact that it reads the lane markers really well, but if you really just start nudging over toward it a little bit, the system starts beeping at you immediately, and it's actually only a passive system. There's no active lane keeping assist on this vehicle, and that's really the only driver assistance tech I'm noticing that it's missing, is the lane keeping assist. This thing won't steer you around gentle curves like some of its competitors will. Now, the head-up display is also part of the ultimate package that my tester has, and I gotta say, it's one of the most elaborate head-up displays I've seen in the business. You'll basically have a nice clear readout of your speed where you don't have to actually look down. Then, of course, if you have your navigation function on, it'll actually show your turn-by-turn directions. You can see it'll also show lane markers, so it'll show the camera reading the lanes. And of course, if you try to cross it, the system will beep at you. It'll actually tell you which lane you're going over and wake you up, I guess, if you're not paying attention. Blind spot information is also included on this vehicle, and if you try to signal when there's someone in your blind spot, the system will beep and let you know pretty loudly that there's somebody in your blind spots. Now, with a 5-liter V8 and rear-wheel drive and about a 4,600 pound curb weight, you're probably wondering, what's the real-world gas mileage in this thing? Well, I gotta say, in the city, it is not good. I'm averaging about probably 14 miles per gallon in the city. Of course, I've got somewhat of a lead foot. I did reset it, and on the highway, I got about 22. Not bad on the highway, but honestly, people who can afford this kind of a car, they're not really concerned with the gas mileage. But I gotta say, some of the Hyundai Equus' competitors, that offer the 6-cylinders, they will get up to 30 miles per gallon on the highway if you go for the 6-cylinder option. And then, of course, when you really put your foot down, this thing really sings. That 5-liter V8 with 429 horsepower really makes its presence known, and this thing is impressive for how big and heavy it is. It's fast. It'll keep up with most of the competition with the standard V8 engine offering. So now that we've talked about the exterior looks, the interior features, the back seat room, and getting onto the driving dynamics, does this thing feel like the real deal? Well, I gotta say, after driving the car and experiencing it, it feels like the real deal. The V8 has plenty of pull, the ride quality is very good, the steering is numb, but that's typical in this class. The car kind of feels big, but you buy this kind of vehicle to get up on the highway like this and just cruise down the road at 60, 70 miles per hour. I mean, with an 8-speed automatic, this thing really just revs really low, and it's extremely quiet, and the seats themselves really comfortable. I wouldn't hesitate to take this thing on a 12-hour road trip, and I probably would get out of the car feeling extremely refreshed. Now, one of the features that I actually really like about this car, besides the driver assistance tech, is the adaptive cruise control. It works really well, and it's pretty easy to use. You pretty much just push the cruise control button right here, and you just push the set button like any other car. Now, the system actually automatically defaults to its adaptive cruise control, and there are 4 different settings. Right now it automatically defaults to the 4th setting, which is basically the farthest distance. I think it's about 164 feet. You can change it by pushing a button here on the steering wheel, and that'll bring it down to about 60 feet roughly. And the car will basically just set its following distance. For example, there's a car in front of me right there. If I speed up here, the system actually automatically sees the car and it'll back off. It'll actually hit the brakes, it'll slow down, and the system is capable of coming to a complete stop. If I move over here, the system sees that there's no more car in front and it'll actually speed up on its own, and it's very nice. A lot of you probably have yet to experience adaptive cruise control with the distance following, and it's a wonderful feature, and I basically can't wait till every car has it on its option list. Basically, the only criticism I have is with such a big sedan, this car really doesn't have much of a soul when you're driving. Even in the sport mode setting here, if I plot it back into its normal settings, the car kind of just makes you forget that you're driving. And that's the main mission of a vehicle in this class. But some of its competitors, for example, if you drive a BMW 7 Series, an Audi S8, or even the new Lexus LS in the F Sport package, they offer a little bit more engagement in terms of the driving dynamics. So to answer my question that I asked at the beginning of this review, is the 2014 Equus the real deal or just another knockoff? Well, after a week's worth of testing, I can confidently say that this is the real deal. Everything from the way it drives, from the interior ambience, to that over-the-top back seat, it screams luxury. Now, my top-of-the-line model stickers for $68,900. That's a lot of money for anybody, and honestly, you're probably going to have a tough time explaining to your friends and family that you spent $70,000 on a Hyundai. However, if you look at the Equus's competitors, they start at $70,000 and go up to $100,000 for a fully loaded model like this one. So therefore, if you guys are in the market for a full-size executive luxury sedan, I can confidently say, put the Equus on your list. You'll be glad you did. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I'll catch you all later.